Hello, welcome back to a chapter a day. Happy Friday. We have reached the end of another week and we are into the weekend, more or less. So I pray that you all take the advantage of getting your rest in. Tomorrow will be, well, as the sun sets, the Sabbath will begin all the way through till sunset tomorrow or Saturday evening. Enjoy. God gave it to us. He didn't suggest, He gave it. He said, remember, keep it. Okay, so we are going into 2 Samuel chapter 17 today. Yesterday we saw how King David, running away from his son Absalom, had some instances again that just maybe exacerbated his situation of adversity with his son. We had Ziba, who was the appointed servant for Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son, or Saul's grandson. He was lame, so this servant named Ziba was put in charge of taking care of Mephibosheth's possessions. He came to bring news to King David that Mephibosheth had kind of proposed treason over King David, which was not true, and that well, King David, I'm not sure if he really believed it or he's kind of giving the benefit. I'm not sure, but we'll find out later on. Then we had a relative of Saul by the name of Shimei came along and started throwing rocks or stones at David and his men. And of course, the captain wanted to eliminate him, but David said, no, leave it, let it be. Maybe that's how God set it up because, he wants me to, take full charge of my wrongdoings or whatever it might be. Because remember what God told him about his punishment for what he did with Bathsheba and her husband. So now he's going through all these afflictions, running from his son, having to deal with this man who's coming to bear news and someone else that's not true. Then he has Hushai, who is in like an undercover person in Absalom's presence to bring Absalom counter news or counter advice as opposed to Ahithophel. So Ahithophel is kind of like gone across to Absalom from David, and David appointed this man by the name of Hushai, who he says he trusts, and he's going to see how he could stop Absalom from listening to Ahithophel. So the last thing we read, Ahithophel is suggesting to Absalom that he goes into David's concubines. Remember the 10 women he left back in the palace. So let's see what happens. Chapter 17. Moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, let me now choose out 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid, and all the people that are with him shall flee, and I will smite the king alone. And I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all returned, so all the people shall be in peace. And the saying pleased Absalom well, and all the elders of Israel. Then said Absalom, call now Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear likewise what he saith. Now I tell you, in everything God always allows something to happen that blindsides the enemy. Even though it might be blatant, God allows the enemy to be blinded by it. And Hushai is one of those blind deciders. He is there on David's behalf, but Absalom really seems to believe he's there. He's so vain. I think that's Absalom's biggest problem, vanity. And he is okay to be plotting the death of his own father. They said, a man's enemies shall be those of his own household. That is so true. So true. Okay, verse 6. And when Hushai was come to Absalom, Absalom spake unto him, saying, Ahithophel hath spoken after this manner. Shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. And Hushai said unto Absalom, the counsel that Ahithophel hath given is not good at this time. For, said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and they be chafed in their minds, as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field. And thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is hid now in some pit, or in some other place. And it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whomsoever heareth it will say, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt. For all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men. So he's counteracting what Ahithophel said. Ahithophel is telling Absalom, go on and attack David now. He is weak, his men, and they will flee. And then when Absalom sends to Hushai counteracts that. He said, David is a man of war. He has valiant men with him. Right now, he's not with the people. He's hiding out separately. If you do that now, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble, and people are going to start hearing that Absalom followers are slaughtered. So you might want to hold off on that. Okay, I don't think he told him anything about the concubines, etc. That maybe was already done, because I think they set up a tent up on the rooftop, and Absalom was taking his father's concubines up there. So that may be already done. Verse 11. Therefore I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude, and that thou go to battle in thine own person. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground. And of him and of all the men that are with him, there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river, until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. For the Lord hath appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom. Then said Hushai unto Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, thus and thus did Ahithophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counseled. So I'm telling you again, God can even make your enemies totally unaware of the situations in order to protect you. So this is what's happening here. Hushai's counsel was taken above that of Ahithophel in going to battle with David. So let's see. And David, I think Hushai went back to David and reported what he told Absalom. Verse 16. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up, and all the people that are with him. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Enrogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city. And a wench went and told them, and they went and told King David. Nevertheless a lad saw them, and told Absalom. But they went both of them away quickly, and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court, whither they went down. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground corn thereon, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman to the house, they said, where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman said unto them, they be gone over the brook of water. And when they had sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. So all through they are setting traps for Absalom and his men for when they come to fight David. David has already been told, because he had Hushai working with Absalom as a spy. So now he knows that Absalom and his men are coming. This woman had to hide two of the men that were also out of the city gate spying on Absalom. A little boy. There's always somebody there to see. Always somebody there to see. The devil always sets people up. You see, but God always has a plan as well. God has a way to deliver his people out of the hand of the enemy. So it's a lot of back and forth going. And you see, I would say women are just natural thinkers and good theatrists. They know how to play out a part. Okay, verse 21. And it came to pass after they were departed, that they came up out of the well, and went and told King David, and said unto David, arise and pass quickly over the water, for thus hath Ahithophel counseled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan by the morning light. There lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose, and gat him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself and died and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. Then David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the host instead of Joab, which Amasa was a man's son, whose name was Ithra, an Israelite, that went in to Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister to Zeruiah, Joab's mother. Oh my gosh. So much stuff. But anyway, I think what's happening, Ahithophel, who was counseling Absalom, realized that they were not following, Absalom did not follow his advice, and he somehow, for some reason, went home and put his household in order and hanged himself. Very much sound like Judas, doesn't it? It's very much like Judas, to tell you truthfully. And then Absalom changed out his captains. He made Amasa captain instead of Joab. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm sure he had a reason. Verse 26. So Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass, when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobi the son of Nahash of Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and Machir the son of Amiel of Lodebar, and Barzillai the Gileadite of Rogelim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, and wheat and barley and flour, and parched corn and beans and lentils and parched pulse, and honey and butter and sheep, and cheese of kine, for David and for the people that were with him to eat. For they said, the people is hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. Wow, God always makes a way for his people. He provides. God is a provider. God is a sustainer. He is, God is amazing. So that was the advice given to David from Hushai, working as pretending that he's counseling Absalom, but he's doing it to help David. So David and his men again had to flee, and they were brought provisions. People were providing for them all the things they needed. Lots of utensils and food and meats, etc. Because the people were hungry and thirsty. You know what? God is a rock in a weary land, and he sent ravens to feed Elijah. Man, God could send you outside and you pick a leaf or something, and that fills you up for the whole day. God provides. We need to trust. That's our part, trust. That sometimes could be the hardest part. So that's the end of 2 Samuel chapter 17. Thank you all again for listening, for commenting, whatever it is you have in mind that you'd like to say, feel free. And again, keep listening, because faith does come by hearing God's word. Take care. Bye.